right, so let's talk about the class, the structure of the syllabus and Canvas. Kind of walk through these, and I'm going to use both the paper and the Canvas site to kind of show you around what's going on. Just as a side note though, I'm not going to update the Word doc version of the syllabus. If things change, I'm only going to update the Canvas one, just because it's a lot of trouble for no real reason, because everything's pretty well organized in Canvas. Okay, so instructor, hey, that's me. Easiest way to contact me is via email. I will have office hours. I almost kind of randomly selected these hours, but we can talk in class and see if there's any conflicts, like major conflicts where people can't make either of those, and I can adjust those as needed. I have a stable link for each of those, so hopefully did those right. So you just click those and I'll just be waiting there chilling. Obviously I don't have waiting rooms or anything set up because I've never used those actually, and not one mess up. So if you pop in and there's someone there, that's a thing. If you need to have a private session that you don't need any interruptions for, we can set an appointment, or if those times don't work for you, we can set an appointment, and that's totally fine. Okay, so about the class, we're going to actually jump into the modules here. And I have this week 0 getting started. Hopefully you're seeing this at the beginning of January, a good amount of time before the class actually starts. So the objective of this class, these are the formal, what we want to get out of it. Low key, I really just want you to have a good understanding of what is a database, why should I use a database instead of a file management system, and when should I not? What is SQL, when do I need to use it? And enough basic foundation now so that if you needed to use it, you could quickly reteach yourself because you're familiar with it already. And you'll be going like, oh yeah, I remember learning that. Oh yeah, I remember learning that. Instead of having to learn from scratch. I want you to kind of know enough about these two roles so that if you are actually interested in those kind of jobs, that you'd be able to like look at like job postings and see what specific jobs are actually looking for, and kind of gear your education in the direction that you need if those kind of pique your interest. And yeah, kind of understand what a warehouse is and those kind of terms that kind of float around the air in organizations. I want you to just have a kind of general understanding of what's going on with data, and you know, hopefully even like when your techie friends make their like jokes and SQL and stuff, that you'll be going like, I know what you're talking about. Those of us who've been around Seattle and have friends that work at Amazon and Microsoft, you are apt to get those jokes quite frequently. Okay, methodology. So this is a flipped class. Recording, all the lectures are pretty much recorded in the classes themselves. I'll kind of whip through the material and go like, okay, like, you know, our first class, we're like, okay, we talked about data and databases. Did we have any questions about this part? Okay, here's a little activity. All right, we talked about end users and stuff. Do we have any questions about this? Cool. So it'll be like at time for questions, short activities. When there's discussion questions, we'll discuss those. We'll talk about upcoming assignments. When we get into the different tech areas, we'll have time to just like sit there and practice, things like that. So that's the synchronous meetings. The lectures are recorded, so we don't have to sit there and listen to someone lecture for 3 hours, because I don't know about you, but I don't have the patience for that anymore. And it's just much easier when it's in short segments and you can go like get a snack or whatever while you're listening to lectures. And you can also rewind, listen again, which is always great. Okay, tips for success. So on a weekly basis, and I know every professor says this, right? But start early. Don't start your readings and stuff the day before. The readings are generally kind of short, but especially if you're not tech inclined, it can get a little heady sometimes. But especially the homework can take a while, kind of depending on just how easy this comes for you or how difficult it can be. If you're really good at logic puzzles, it might come a little easier for you, especially the first part of it. You have a big project, and so you want to make sure that you're pacing the quarter out and using the milestones for that. And the pop reading book, I've actually created forcing functions to make everyone have milestones throughout the class to get through it. Yeah, start early. Use your time wisely. And then each week, especially when you're thinking about participation points, ask yourself 3 questions. Did I interact with material? Did I interact with the professor? Did I interact with my peers? This can be during the synchronous Zoom sessions in the breakout rooms or with the larger class. It can be in the discussion questions, helping your peers out or responding to people's posts about articles or chapters or whatnot. Just want to reiterate, I'm recording this in 2020. I don't expect 2021 to be much better during our quarter together. The stress is real. You're not in this alone. We're all struggling through college life and life right now. So if things are frustrating, whether it's tech issues or just balancing everything or people in your life are sick or whatever it is, just reach out to me. Communication is key. You'll find that I'm really nice and flexible with things. I want everyone to succeed. Like, it makes me really sad when people don't get anything other than an A. And I know everyone's capable of getting through this course. So, let me help you. But you have to communicate. So that being said, if you have anything that's private that you want to talk about, do it via email. If you have any course-related questions, you can do so in the general Q&A discussion, which we'll go back to in a minute. Okay, speaking of tech issues, go. There we go. So technical requirements for the class, 2 things. The first is there's hand-drawn assignments. The first 2 assignments are hand-drawn. So you're going to, if you're lucky enough to have a scanner, that is awesome. Scan it and send it that way. If not, I'm guessing that there's going to be a lot of cell phone taking pictures. So just do your best. If that requires multiple shots to get the entire page covered in a high enough resolution for me able to see it. But yeah, you're gonna need some sort of camera or scanner capability, get it onto a computer to get to me. So hopefully that won't be too hard, but it's a thing. The second technical requirement for the class is either if you have a Windows PC, then you will need to have Microsoft Access. This is available through the school. If you go to the download center, that link there. Unfortunately, it does not work for Macs. So the solution for our Mac users is using Libre, which is a free suite of apps that mimic Office. They are spectacular if you do not have access to Microsoft's Office suite. It has like Word and Excel and all the things, and it has our database. So download there. It has the documentation, which is really nice and handy right there. I am expecting to use Libre in my demos for 2 reasons. One, for accessibility. If we do have any Mac users, the system, the Office, the Libre version tends to be simpler than the fancier versions, and therefore I expect the accompanying documentation to be actually better than trying to get through Access's multiple versions of the program. So let me tell you a quick story. So when I took the class, I had a Mac, and I had to like partition my computer into like a PC part and a Mac part, and that's a little more techie than what I'm comfortable with. And then with that, like when I was trying to look up stuff for Access, I'd always find like tutorials on how to do it in like Microsoft 2003 or some other version than whatever I was using, and it was really frustrating. Like I've never had such a technologically frustrating class. And so this is my big, what I can do for our Mac users to make it a much nicer experience. So again, on Thursday, I'll try to remember to ask if we do have any Mac users. Actually, if I was smart, I'd update it and ask in the student information form. So we can hopefully see if that problem exists for anyone. If it doesn't, then we'll all just use Access. But yeah, so download it early so you can work through the bugs before we actually have assignments in it. Okay, so the discussion questions that I mentioned. So the general course questions are here. So if you have any questions about the course itself, questions about the project, questions about how to create certain things in Access or Libre, anything like that, you can post them here because other students can probably help you out. And this is part of participation. So if someone does post questions here and you can help them out, do it. Easy as that. Okay, so that is the module week 0 there. Before we move on, let's go over here. Okay, one other policy here, late assignments and extra credit. Okay, I do have at this time 1 extra credit assignment, which is a discussion post. I'll see how the class is doing and see if there's anything else. I don't expect you to need anything like that though. Late assignments will receive an automatic penalty of 20%. By late, I will just use Canvas's very precise computer timing. So if you're sitting there at 11:59 trying to turn something in that's due at 11:59, be aware that this isn't me looking at emails. If you look at the syllabus, it gives the precise time that everything is due. So make sure that you get everything done. So like the first assignments are due by 11:59. So I'll just call it midnight Tuesday, but it's really 1 minute before midnight. So Tuesday going into Wednesday. Things like the readings and screencasts, I have it due before class because I want you to have it all done before class. And I have the class times posted. And so you'll see that like the discussion questions are due the day before class. So the syllabus is a really good way to see exactly what time everything is due. Otherwise, the modules is a nice, cleaner, kind of sexier way of looking at it. Okay. So course grading, what are you going to be doing for the class? So this is the standard business school stuff there. You should be used to that. So quizzes, 200 points, total 100 points each. You'll have one quiz covering the first section of the class on ERDs, one quiz on the second part of the class, which is the sequel section. The third section on the actual DBMS will be kind of tested by you actually successfully doing the thing at the end of the class. We'll talk more about the exams when we get there. Homework assignments, and those will be accessed there. I haven't published them yet though, so not visible to you yet. The homework assignments, you can of course access through modules or through here. First assignment is the student information sheet, which is a private information sheet, kind of giving me information about like, what is your major? What do you look like? Things like that. Do you have any like pronouns that you need me to know about? Anything like that. And then you'll have 6 other assignments. You see the points do vary between them, and those are all due before the class on the Thursdays of that week. These are basically designed to give you practice on the practical skills that we're learning that week. Our online discussion topics. So our first week is a public introduction. So this is for your classmates. Second week is on, it's actually looking at an article about poor data quality. And so this is like with the APA citation and the whole works. The rest of the discussions are actually going to be looking at our popular reading book, which is the 97 Things About Ethics Everyone in Data Science Should Know. And so basically I've split the books into, well, it's split into 7 sections. And so we're taking section by section. This way you're not scrambling to read the entire book the day before it's due. Not like I've ever seen any students do that. Never, ever. And this way we're segmenting it and breaking up into smaller assignments, basically. Let's see. Then class engagement. So this includes actually showing up to the synchronous class meetings. It's pretty easy for me to take attendance in Zoom. Actually, much easier in Zoom than it is in real life. Participation in the synchronous class meetings. So that is asking questions in front of the whole class. That is like participating, if I do any like icebreakers and things like that, it's participating in those. When we do breakout groups, it's participating in those discussions. It's also dealing with the asynchronous discussion posts. So if people do ask questions in the general Q&A, of actually going out and like answering questions when you can. And then when we have these discussion questions here, like if someone posts something about a reflection on section 1 reading, in addition to posting your own reflection, you can comment on other people's. And so that also counts as participation because it's showing me that you're reading and thinking about what other people are doing. So hopefully that will help lead to some rich discussions. And we'll be anything that's in these discussion topics, we'll talk about in the class following, or in that week. And the last thing here is the database project. So this is creating a database and doing a presentation to accompany it. We'll talk more about this, obviously. This will be, well, we'll just save that for a separate discussion, but that's worth 250 points. All of that together is 1,000 points for the whole class. And then I have the proposed class schedule, color-coded because that's the way my brain works. And yeah, things may change. I've played with the class structure a lot, and I'm still trying to see if I want, like, what documentation or what I want to use for these. But at least the first part of it is fairly set. Again, as I actually do the recordings on these might switch around a little bit. So TBD there. But the assignment due dates, those are probably pretty set right now for what you see right now. So again, this is a nice, easy on the eyes way of looking at everything. I like the syllabus view personally because it's very precise, but it is very hard on the eyes, and you have the module view. And I'll try to do one of these little things so you can see exactly what chapters to read. I'll have a link to the PowerPoint file and the YouTube playlist, and then a reminder of everything that's due that week. I'm gonna have reminders everywhere. Okay, so anything else? Yes, so quick chat about the etiquette for Zoom. I know that different professors have different expectations for this. So these are just general respect things for a group this size. So when we're in the big class, keep your mic muted. You should be coming into the room muted. Be careful, be mindful of background noises from like other people watching TV, or if you're eating, things like that. Visual, those really mostly count towards when we're in a big class. If we're in breakout sessions, it's usually more normal to everyone go off the mute and just talk more freely to encourage participation. Visually, I'm not requiring you to have your video on during class because there's a lot of things with that, but I do encourage it. So if you're in a position to do your video, please do. It's not fun talking to a bunch of black little squares. For the breakout rooms, especially, you're very highly encouraged to have your video on. But if you're like eating, coughing, sneezing, etc., turn your video off for that duration. Yeah, again, just general respect. Professionalism. Please dress like you would in the classroom setting, at least the top half. Like, you can wear a fancy shirt and like PJs on the bottom, just, you know, make sure you're wearing pants just in case you get up. And just avoid multitasking, texting, online shopping, etc. I know it's really tempting to do, especially if your video's off. The synchronous sessions will not last for 3 hours. So try to focus your attention on the class. If you do engage in any of these behaviors, turn your video off so you don't distract others. Simple as that. No one will be able to tell. Yeah, everything else in here is pretty standard. The business school has requirements for writing and presentations. Should probably check this percentages, but there's an evaluation at the end of the course. If you decide to do teamwork, play nice, basically, for sure. If you have any accommodations or anything that I need to know about, tell me ASAP. I thought Zoom used to do transcriptions and stuff, but they're not doing it automatically now. And so if there's anything I need to do, just let me know ASAP. Don't plagiarize, obviously. Library resources, if you need them. Oh yeah, so this class is a spin-off of Dr. Labree's class that he usually teaches this course. He usually uses this textbook. I chose not to for 2 reasons. One is an attempt to decolonize the classroom by not using expensive textbooks. And second, with 2020, my brain just, I don't want to read this. Like, I looked at these chapters going like, yeah, no. no. And if I don't want to read it, I'm not going to make you read it, because I mean, honestly, like, how many students actually read the chapters, especially if there's a lecture accompanying it? So I'm opting for free resources, but if you're interested in databases, it's not a bad textbook to have, and it goes a little deeper in some areas than what I do. Okay, so I think that's it. Yep, we will go into talking about the project now.